I've been a journalist for around 20 years, and I'm honestly a bit dumbfounded at the response from other journalists. A classic part of good journalism, responsible journalism, going many, many centuries back, is that you're trying to provide people with information that is actionable, that they can use to make informed decisions on what to believe or positions to take on certain issues. And a key part of covering war is that you have to have journalists willing to go to the other side, to speak with the people that you are told are the enemies, and to get their perspective so that we can better understand the nature of this conflict. And so just as, I've gone to areas in Yemen that are controlled by al-Qaeda, or areas in Somalia that are controlled by al-Shabaab, or areas in Afghanistan that are controlled by the Taliban, we have an obligation to try to understand where al-Qaeda Arabian Peninsula is coming from. And so, we should have a special standard that in certain cases we're actually not journalists, but we are somehow militant nationalists who should not engage in responsible journalism because the U.S. government doesn't like us talking to those individuals, to me just flies in the face of just basic journalistic principles. Clearly, Director Comey doesn't actually want us to have a truly free press. And let's remember that this Justice Department is waging a war against whistleblowers that effectively amounts to a war against journalism. Look, I don't believe, in using anonymous sources widely. I particularly think that newspapers and news organizations should not be giving senior U.S. officials anonymity so that they can project their propaganda on the world, which is largely why senior U.S. officials request anonymity. They want to be able to say things that secretly or privately benefit U.S. policy, and it's not actually moving the story forward. A lot of disinformation gets pushed out that way. So I believe in a limited use of confidential sources. In this case, we had a situation where we had something that was of tremendous news value on a breaking news story. The gunmen had declared that they were from al-Qaeda in Yemen. There was a lot of speculation going on. And so I reached out to sources that I know are members of AQAP with access to the leadership of that organization to try to get an understanding of whether or not this was true. And it was not clear at the time that any official statement was forthcoming from AQAP. And if we were to identify our source, who is not authorized to speak, not just because they're like a private spokesperson, but because AQAP has a very strict set of guidelines as to who speaks officially for the organization. Also, the source could potentially be in danger, which to me is the number one reason why you would grant anonymity to a confidential source whose information in the past has been verified as legitimate if their life is going to be in danger. So I didn't just decide this on my own to grant anonymity to someone from AQAP. Our general counsel at the Intercept reviewed this, our editor-in-chief, Betsy Reed, and two senior editors. We all discussed this issue and ultimately made a determination that granting anonymity in this case was a responsible thing to do.